Hey guys, so as my regular viewers may know, I'm going over the early story ideas for The Empire Strikes Back. Now at the moment, George Lucas and his writer are discussing that fateful duel between Luke and Vader. And George wants to display a lot more force powers than he was able to do in the match between Obi-Wan and Vader in A New Hope. But he also wants Luke to fail. He wants him to use the dark side on Vader. So the more power he uses against Vader to win the external battle, he's actually losing on the inside. Part of this will come from a transcript of early notes on the battle, and part will be from an early treatment. Here we go. In the fight, Vader is using the dark side of the Force, and he's really tricking Luke. It limits Luke's ability to throw things around or use lightning bolts. If he wants to be aggressive, he has to use the dark side. So in the beginning of this fight, Luke will be shielding himself against Vader, but he'll finally get mad enough to where he starts to pick things up and throw them at Vader, which gives him the upper hand. But even as Luke gets the upper hand, Vader knows that he's winning because he's getting Luke to use the dark side of the Force. The audience would also know it's a physical way of manifesting the idea that the more lightning bolts he shoots at Vader, the more he's succumbing to the dark side of the Force. The more he's winning, the more he's actually losing. It will also make a more exciting fight. You'll be rooting for Luke because he'll be so outmatched, and the only way he can survive is to use the dark side. Han, Leia, and company manage to break out their quarters and meet Luke just before he enters the area where Vader is waiting. They warn him. But Luke tells Leia that he knows it's a trap and that she and the others should escape in the Falcon while there's still time. Lando says he'll help Han and the others as he's had enough of Vader. At that moment, they are surrounded by Imperial stormtroopers. Chaos ensues, during which Han, Lando, and the others flee, and Luke unleashes the force of his training on the troopers. Vader appears in the midst of the battle and confronts Luke. The two verbally assess each other's powers. Vader and Luke are fighting with laser swords. In this battle, both Luke and Vader use their ESP powers, or in other words, the Force. Lightning bolts flash around the room, and they pick up objects with their powers and throw them at each other. They end up in a reactor room with a giant propeller that threatens to mince both of them. Vader has the upper hand. Vader pleads with Luke to join him. For some reason, Vader is reluctant to kill Luke and would rather turn him to the dark side of the Force. Vader finally swings his death blow, but Luke jumps off of the narrow ledge and falls down the endless shaft. Luke dangles above the exit port of the city. Han blasts his way through the shield door. They spot Luke and escape Vader's Star Destroyer. In the end, Han has to leave to pay an old debt. I find it really interesting how Han didn't even end up in Carbonite in this version, and George Lucas doesn't know why Vader wants Luke to join him yet. So what do you guys think? Would you have liked to have seen Luke hurl lightning bolts at Vader during Cloud City? Or do you like the fact that the first time he really sees that is when the Emperor does it to him? Luke didn't give in to the dark side in what we actually got on screen, but he would towards the end of their duel of the second Death Star, or at least use it a little bit and harken on his emotions. Should he have had a Force lightning match against the Emperor? And what if Luke had given in to the dark side on Cloud City, but instead of joining Vader, he killed him instead? Then, having committed himself to the dark side, he would be a secret Sith or Dark Sider, working for the rebellion against the Emperor. Only Obi-Wan and Yoda, and probably the Emperor, would be aware of his true nature. What would happen then? Would Obi-Wan appear before Leia and warn her? What if he couldn't? What if the presence of two powerful Darksiders like Luke and the Emperor kept him silent in the netherworld of the Force? Then what? The Emperor could possibly want him as an apprentice, and maybe Luke would want the rebellion to become the new empire under his rule. So it would be Darksider versus Darksider. Would Luke train Leia in the dark side, or would he destroy her? And the Jedi would probably die out for good in the galaxy. So there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of theories regarding this alternate, or rather original Episode 5 script of what was going to happen. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be covering more from these books. Have an awesome rest of your day, and until I see you in the next episode, remember, the Force will be with you, always.